So, hello, far. So, this we are having our second topic, and this will be HTML introduction. So, last time I talked about HTML. I talked about web development. I talked about the front end and the back end. So, I thought I'll be taking the front end mainly. So, this is being on our front end class. We're going to be starting from HTML. HTML is like the building block. I've told you before. HTML is the structure. Without HTML, you cannot have any website. So, I'll be going into HTML introduction today. So, let's start it. So, I'll be using this as guide to be telling you as you'll be seeing the words as I'm saying it. So, HTML is not basically a programming language, it's a markup language. So what HTML fully means is hypertext markup language. So what HTML basically means is hypertext markup language. So as you can see it here, it's hypertext markup language. So HTML is used for like standard language used for creating standard markup language used for creating web pages. So let's say the website is a combination of web pages. So a full website is a combination of web pages. So without the web pages, you cannot have a full website. One web page is not a full website. So I can give you like an example. So let me go to the website and look for one. I'll go to so as you can see, this is a full website, but this is the first web page. So this is the main web page, the front web page. I put it like that, the front page. So this is the landing page. Once you click on the link, this is where you land. This is the first page you land on the website. But it depends on the developer. You can make anyone your first landing page. So let's say I want to go to another page. So this is the home page. This is the landing page. This is home page. I can go to the contact page. So this is the contact us page. So this is another page. So these games is also another page. So that's another page. So we can have different pages combined inside a website. So the combination of web pages creates a website. So we basically use HTML to create all these web pages, then link them together. So we have something called hypertext. Hypertext is like a link that connects like web pages. So that's hypertext. Hypertext means a link that connects pages together. So as you can see, I was able to go through all these websites. I can see if I click on one, just to take me up. So there's a hypertext here, a link here that makes this possible. So with the help of HTML, you can use the hypertext. So that's why HTML is hypertext markup language. So because you can use that, create and link web pages in order to create a full website. In the olden days, how they basically secure website before like new versions came out, it's just like a tree. Let's say if you go from the first page, you must have to go to the next. You must have to follow from the first page to go to the next page. From the next page to go to the next page. For like that, it has to be like chronological order. Even I want to go back to the first page, you have to follow from that last page and continue going to the first. I mean to this. second to the last, then you go there till you reach the first. So hypertext was created, which can help to like interconnect each page. So you can go to each page because of the you can go to different pages because of the hypertext markup language. So now I can go to this page with the help of this link. I can still go back to the home page with the help of the hypertext there. So this basically made web like the usage of web very easy. So HTML is basically the structure. Without HTML, you cannot build a website. I'll show you what a HTML website looks like without CSS and JavaScript. So this is how a HTML looks. Basically, it's just basic, no design. So this is the building block. So without this, you cannot get like a full-fledged website. So this is the building block. This is the design, the beginning, the starting design. So let's say I want to add some styles. I'm going to add some styles. Then when I'm done adding the styles, then I'll come back here. I'll show you how it's going to look like when I'm done adding the styles. So I will, yeah. So I want to add some styling. Let me just add the styling. So now I've added the styling. So I'll go and run it again. Then as you can see, this was that plain text you saw before. This is it. When I added styling, it has this old design and it also has some functions too, which is the JavaScript. So let's say I want to add something to here. I can add something and press enter. As you can see, this without that HTML, you cannot add all these things. So you have to have your HTML there before you can now add your design and your functionality. So the functionality is if I put anything inside here, I can be able to save it. This is a to-do list. So going back, I'm going to remove the styling. So as you can see, I've removed some styling. So the thing does not solve. So I did not remove this red color styling, but I'll still remove it. So this is how the basic HTML look like. Just text and buttons. So HTML, as I said before, HTML is like the basic standard structure markup language I used to design the structure of a web page. So without it, you cannot build a web page and build different web pages to create a full website. So basically, HTML is just made up of elements and text. So those elements are just boxes which you put text, then you can style it to give it your own design. So the next lesson will be going through how you can style them. I mean, how you can write them. I will see how the thing looks like if you write them. So, and that says that HTML has elements, and those elements tell the computer how you want it to look like. Shit, of course. So, HTML elements tells the computer. In HTML, have HTML elements. So, those elements are boxes which you put, let's say, on your text editor, and it tells the computer how it should look like. Like now, we have different elements. We have like the heading element, we have the title element, we have the footer element, we have the body element, we have different elements, and all these elements tells computer how they like look like. They tell the browser how they will look like, so and they'll be displayed, which enables you to now style it in your own way, creating that design you have in your mind. So we have the first. These are like the main thing you need to know when starting to create a website. So we have the doc type HTML declaration. So when you're creating a website, you have to start with this doc type HTML. Without it, you're telling the computer, without it, you're telling the computer that you're using like old version of HTML. But if we use it, we have the latest version of HTML, which is HTML5. So you're using it, you're basically telling the computer you're using the latest version, that's HTML5 of HTML. So as you can see, in this my previous code, I have it written here. So doc type, see it here, I have it written here, this doc type HTML. So if I not write it there, although the things might show, but the versions like they matter. Like this new HTML5 version is very forgiving. These elements now I'm using, elements are written in small letter. If I should write anyone in capital letter in the old ones, the thing might not show. But in this HTML5, if you write capital letter, it will show, because HTML5 is forgiving. So that's one big feature about this one. But I not advise you to be making that kind of mistake of using big letters. So we have the next element, which is the HTML element. These elements are very crucial. Aside that doc type exclamation doc type HTML, this one is very very crucial. It's crucial because that's like where the whole coding enters. Anything you want to input about HTML, it enters this HTML tag. And we have the head. The head is just like for the title. I'll still treat all these like in another topic, so I just want to just rush them through. Then we have the body. The body is now, you should get the body now. The body is just like the whole the same from the header down to the footer. That's just the body. But it contains the whole design and everything. But the HTML is like the mother of all of them. It contains many both the body and other things you need to put so that the computer understand the full website you're trying to develop. So we have other elements like H1, which H1 means heading one, and we have paragraph tag. So I told you that elements tell the computer how they want to look like. They tell the computer how they should look like. So I want to show you like an example. So this is just like a beginner's lesson. So I have the first declaration. So if you declare it, it does not have any closing tag, which I'll still treat later. Then we have the HTML beginning and closing. We have the head. Head is here. It's inside the HTML. I'll have the body. So the HTML carries both the head and the body. And the body is carrying the H1 and this. I'll still treat that later. But this is how it looks like. As you can see, we have the heading one. The heading one is containing this my first heading. So this heading one is telling the computer that it's supposed to be bigger than all the text, and supposed to be broader than all the text. So it has different format from the P tag. So the P tag is the paragraph tag. Paragraph tag is just telling the computer I have to be just normal. So that's what basically the elements do. The elements have different functions that they tell the computer like this how I'm going to look like. They are just containers that contains text or images, depending on how you want to style them and depending on what you want to create. So tell the computer how they want to look like before they can be styled and worked upon. So we'll move to the next. So the building block of an HTML tag. Okay. So I'll be starting this from the beginning. So you can be writing with me. I'll also be listening. So we have. I talked to you about elements. We have HTML elements. An element is like HTML tag. That's what it's usually called. HTML tag. Which tell the computer, the browser, how it should look like. So it can contain text or image. So we'll still treat those ones later. So I'll teach you how HTML tags work, how they look like. So we'll first start with these two, greater than and less than. So inside that greater than and less than, we'll put the tag name, the HTML element name. So I'll be starting with my doc type, that doc type I talked to you about. Starting with a doc type, I'll put my exclamation mark and I'll put doc type. If you want to start building your website, this is what you basically do. You start with this. I'll put doc type in capital letter, then I can now put my HTML. So if I want to start building your website, this is how I basically start. Once I start with this, I've told computer, hello, yes, I'm using HTML5. That any code now I'm writing under it now is HTML5 code. So once I press enter, I'll go to the next line. So going to the next line, I'll still put those two things. So here will be different. An HTML element has an opening tag. This is an opening tag and a closing tag. So this is an HTML element has. This is a closing tag, which is at the end here, and an opening tag. So inside this opening and closing tag, we put the names of the HTML elements we want to use. So inside this opening tag, let's say we're going to start with the HTML element. We want to use the HTML element. So inside this HTML element, we can put text. But I'll not put text now. I have to just put this thing at the closing tag. So inside this, the closing of the HTML element, I have to still put the HTML there too, the HTML name there too, so that I'll close the HTML element and put this forward slash before I put. I'll put it before I put this HTML element to tell the computer, hey, this is where HTML is beginning and this is where HTML is closing. So I start the HTML with a forward slash before writing the HTML in the opening and closing tag. So then in between this, let's as you can see in between, right in between it, I can now put any HTML text or let's say other elements inside it. We call that nesting, but I'll still talk about it later. Or we'll call that next. So I'll put any element inside it. So I'll go ahead and put the HTML element normally used to contain the body, but the only is contain the body element, but we have new features like, let's say, the head. The head is basically in a website. You have, let me show you an example. In this website, if I should go to this, so as you can see where they wrote here, learner games. So where they wrote learner games. As you can see where they wrote the learner games, this is like the heading, the head of this website. This learner games, the head of the website. So that's basically where the head will go to. Then this side is now the body. This whole page here is now the body of the website, of the web page. So if I should I'll put the head tag here. So you should have opening and closing. So you should have opening and closing. So you can see header opening. It's not header, head. Let me not make the mistake. Head. So each have opening and closing. This is the opening head and this is the closing head. So inside the opening and closing head, we can put text there, but what we have to put is the title. The head has to have a title, so I'm going to put the title of the head. I'm calling it our first HTML program. So we have the heading as our first HTML program. Then inside this body, I can now put any tag I want. So we have different element tags. I'll use the H1 as you've seen before. I'll use the H1. I'll use the H1. So using the H1, I can now put first web page. So as I've put this one, then I want to go for the next tag, which is a P tag. That's the paragraph tag. So putting the paragraph have its opening and to have its closing. So it's in between it. I'll just put my name. Let's say so. And so let's run the code. Let's see how the thing looks like. So as you can see, we have our header with our head here with the title of my first HTML program, and we have the H1 with first web page, and we have none so as the paragraph here. So most of you might not know how to use a text editor, which I'll be talking in the next class, and most of you might not know how to write code, yes, but in the next class I'll be showing you how to use a text editor on a laptop and how it will work and how you can start writing this code. But bear in mind, I'll not repeat this particular class again. I'll just reference this code for you to go and watch and see how to use HTML elements. So let me recap. So we first have our HTML. This HTML is the one that carrying all these things inside. It has this opening here and it has this closing here. So inside the HTML, we have two more elements. That's the head, which has its opening here, and the head is carrying a title. Head must have a title. So it's carrying its opening here and it has its closing. And the body has its opening here, which is carrying all the whole different elements that we can basically style. And it has its closing here. So each element must have its opening and its closing. And inside the opening and the closing, you can now put either element or text depending on what you want to put. So that's how HTML works. I think this is the ending of today's class. So as you can see, HTML element is defined as start tag, some content and end text. As you can see, tag name, content inside it, then we have the closing tag. So I think this is basically it. So we come to the end of today's class. So if you have any questions, just drop on the group. I'll answer any of your questions.